Danny.
Hey, Dad. How are
Good to
you,
see
buddy?
Oh, good. Hey, Brenda, you might not know, but I lost all my social media, so that's why you might not have seen me. Yeah, I lost all my
Oh my
Facebook.
God.
Yeah.
All good, buddy.
We
I'm
need to
sure
have a chat about that, Danny.
yeah,
See what
I think
happened.
so. Good morning, Keisha, Maureen, Danielle, Alice.
Christine, nice to see
How are
you.
you, Danny?
I'm
And
good, thank you.
Jill. Welcome. All right. Let me just let some more people in. And oh my goodness, we've got a jam-packed day, everybody. Oh, I like this. I'm back. Whoever I'm back is, welcome. I'm back. I'm glad you are. So, for those who don't know us, I am Christine. Welcome to our Book to Speak masterclass, and of course, I am. I'm so privileged to be working alongside my amazing friend and business partner, Brenda Denbeston. Some of you might have seen us on socials. I'm going to admit some more people whilst we're speaking. And of course, we've got a jam-packed day for you, and I don't want to waste any more time. I'm going to call for the music to slowly fade. I'm sure my lovely Speak-Worthy crew will do that in due course, but we're going to get underway. So that everybody is going to be on point with some of the things that we're going to bring you through, I'm going to get the crew to just drop into the chat. I'm going to get the crew to drop in the chat the workbook for today, and that would help you go through the movements with us. So crew, if you can, let me have a quick look that it's being done. And whilst we're waiting, if you can, just drop in the chat where you're dialing in from, because I'd love to say good morning, good afternoon, and good evening if you are coming from across the plains of Australia where we are, or you're from across the globe, because we'd love to welcome you. So put in the chat. Oh, greetings, Maureen from NYC. We've got, of course, Danny from Sydney. Thank you. Dania, hello all. I'm dialing from New York City. Oh, that is amazing. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Who else? Okay, so I can see that the July workbook, Melbourne, of course, Brenda, Keisha's from, and Keisha, tell me if I'm saying your name right. Virginia, United States. So Keisha, if I'm saying it right, just give me a thumbs up. Yes, I can see she's nodding. Right. Oh, Dallas, Texas. Oh, Dallas, Texas. I love it. Okay, I've got another person coming into the room. Fantastic. Yeah, hot Dallas, Texas. Yes, South than chilly Melbourne, and I'm going to add their chilly Sydney because it is freezing in the East Coast. So welcome everybody. And if you've just joined, we have the workbook in the chat. So please go ahead and download that. I'm going to get, oh yes, Danielle says, just wondering if some recording will be circulated after today's session. I think Brenda's nodding her head. We'll go ahead and make that available. And if you haven't gotten the workbook, just put in the chat. Oh, thank you, crew. The workbook is there. Fantastic, fantastic, fantastic. All right, so if you haven't done so, please put in the chat where you're coming from, because we'd love to say hello. Okay, Dawn says, oh, yep, okay, she's got it. Fantastic. All right, so let's kick off the day, and if we could share the slides on the screen, crew, if you can do that, and then everybody will know where we're going with this. So crew, if you can, we're going to start our little slideshow.
Fantastic. I can see the front page. Chris, can you see that too?
I sure can. So if you could just click across, that would be great. Okay, so as I was saying before, we're going to share, and I love my acronyms. I'm going to let some people in while we're here. I love our acronyms, so this is what we'd like you to share with us as masterclass etiquette. We'd just like you to show your face. So if you can, it would be lovely, so we can say hello, make a connection. Everybody's already done this. How your hometown, put it in the chat, and we've said hello. And just enjoy the day, because we love amplifying others. So if you want to, flood the chat with some emojis. If you feel like somebody said something that's really resonated with you, put a smiley face so you can amplify others. Hello, Carlos from Florida. Welcome to our room. And of course, we want to respect the room that we're in. So if you're not speaking, please mute the microphone so that others can. And of course, engage with empathy because we just love our emojis. So next slide, please, crew. If you haven't done it, that's our masterclass etiquette for today. So next slide. Great. So this is our agenda because we just want to know, we want you to know what we're going to be covering today. So we're going to give you a quick introduction of who we are and why we are even here to walk you through this beautiful and very exciting landscape of speaking. So I'm Christine and you will meet Brenda, and of course we like to be known as Chris and Bren because it just shows some intimacy with, our newfound friends, which is you today. We're going to be sharing a lot of industry insights and most importantly, what that means for you, because we have had a lot of our clients come to us and say, hey girls, why do some speakers get booked and others not so much? So we're going to explore all of that today. And of course, how to shape your talk so that you can land some gigs if you haven't got one, or maybe you have a talk and you're not like, I'm not quite sure what I need to do with it. So today would be a great either affirming point or for you to have some awareness around the gaps that you have. And if time permits, we're going to do some hot seat coaching. So if you have burning questions and you're like, girls, I need this answered, put up your hand, you're going to have an opportunity to do that. And of course, please stay to the end. We are ones to share many things that we have, so there is a clear plan of what's next. And if this works for you, we'd really like you to enjoy some bonuses with us today as well. So that's our agenda, 2 hours. It's not going to be boring. Please take lots of notes. Whatever you're missing, put it in the chat, and I'm sure we can circle back and help you with it. But most importantly, just enjoy some of the insights that we're going to share with you today. So next slide, please, crew. Well, I love this because Brenda and I were talking yesterday and we're like, I think we should just give everybody a bonus right up front because why not? Why not? And I think a lot of people have burning questions that, in a room, I do understand that, some people might have, some, heebie-jeebies about asking some personal questions. So this is what we're going to drop for you today. Everybody gets a strategy call. Everybody gets a strategy call. I'm not talking about, is this a discovery call? Is it a sales call? No, it's a strategy call because it's here for us to serve you in the most intimate way. And if this speaks to you well, please book it in 48 hours because any other strategy call does cost. So this is our bonus for you today, and we really, really want to be able to give you as many strategies as we know how. So that's our bonus to you today. Next slide, please. So I'm going to hand this, actually, I'm not sure. Am I handing it over to you yet? I don't think so. Let's have a look. So why are you here? Actually, that's a great question. Brenda wants to ask you, why are you here? I want to ask you a question, why are you here? Do you have particular objectives as to why you are here in this room today? Are there immediate burning questions that you want to achieve, or is there an intention for you to be here? Or, are you a seasoned speaker? Are you a new speaker? Do you want to pop it in the chat to let us know and let us, help you drive the direction of this masterclass so it's actually useful to you? So drop it in the chat. What do you want to get out of most in this masterclass? So I welcome anybody to put something in the chat. Why are you here? What's brought you here to this room? What do you want to learn most about? Oh, everybody's so shy today, Brenda. Maybe it's early in the morning on the East Coast. Everybody's a little bit shy. Okay, Maureen says, how to introduce myself at the beginning of any talk. Okay, I like that. I like that. How to introduce myself at the beginning of every talk. Danny says, I'm curious to see if I should pursue this path. Oh, yes. That's a really good question, Danny, because, you know, Brenda and I have known Danny in a different capacity, and it's been very interesting. Your path is amazing. So I hope today will answer some of those questions. Jill says, next level speaker from just doing job-related presentations in Toastmasters. Oh, yes. Brenda's got a lot of insight into this as a very seasoned speaker herself. So thank you for sharing that, because some of these questions will definitely be answered. And Keisha says, I'm in the process of publishing a book, love it, and plan to be speaking in the future about it. Yes, so we love authors or to be authors. And if you're not, you might be a subject matter expert in the field that you're in. Speaking is beautiful. Speaking is lovely. And Sky says, some ideas on what direction I can take with speaking and what path to take. Ooh, a lot of gems around that today. So very much stay tuned. Thank you so much for these lovely statements on why you are here and what you'd like to learn. So yeah, hand on my heart. I think we're going to cover a lot of those, Brenda, aren't we? Fantastic.
100%, Chris.
Yeah, so next slide, please. I'm just going to bring some more people in here. So this is what we want for you today. If you're not even on. So your outcome today, and please make a promise to yourself that you don't want to be the best kept secret. You want to be visibly valuable, because we believe that whatever you have inside of you that you have not pulled out yet, and maybe it's just not been shaped in the way that you need it to be shaped, is we want you to be remembered, we want you to be referred, and we want spaces and stages and rooms to request you. And that should be your outcome. Next slide, please. So I just want to share a little bit about myself, because I think it's important for you to know who is guiding you and what sort of experience your coaches come from. And this is probably the worst part for me, because I don't like to boast and I don't like to be tooting my own horn. But you know what? As a speaker, we got to get over that. Toot sweet. We got to get over that quick smart. So this is who I am, and I hope to be, connected with you and to you in many more ways than just today. So my name is Christine. I've been in all sorts, actually I shouldn't say all sorts of iterations, but things that count, for over 30 years. And the two main spaces that I've been have been corporate, especially in the finance. Just think Wolf of Wall Street. That was my last life. It wasn't, it wasn't, 100% me, but I did it. And of course in small business. So, that was a lovely moment, turning moment in my life when I had my first child, and it allowed me a bit of an exit point, and I started my own small business. So I was a financial advisor for over a decade, and then in my small business, I managed to build that to multi-seven figures. And therefore, when I speak to business owners who are either starting for the first time or wanting to build it and scale it, that's my genius zone, and that's where I enjoy most. I do come from multidisciplinary degrees, including education and finance. I have been voted many times and nominated and become finalists and winners in award-winning industries. I've been a business coach for many years, and of course, recently, I've just become a best-selling author. So if you go to my socials, you'll see my book launch. I am a true advocate of those who just know their stuff, but they haven't had a chance to speak about it. So that's me, and I'd love to welcome you to our room today. So if we flick to the next slide, you're going to see somebody else. Thank you.
Here are
Here are just some photos. Here are just some photos of me. So there's top left hand. I've got me and my son. He was on the Netflix series Boy Scholars Universe. You might want to go and watch it. There's me facilitating on the bottom left. Some cardiologists in a room about communication. Me with Brett Lee, who's a lovely cricket player. Some local business awards we've won. On the right-hand side is a lot of the social activities, social enterprise activities that we do, so youth mentorship and, mental health spaces, which I am a true advocate for, and me just speaking on stage. So that's some images of me, so welcome, and I hope that I can inspire you on your journey to speaking. Next slide, please.
Dean, I always love hearing about you. I love hearing about your successes, and I think it's always inspiring for our guests to hear about what you have achieved and who is guiding them across this. So, can I take the mic, Chris?
Absolutely. The stage is yours. That is where you are absolutely going to shine. So please share with us who you are, Brenda.
So I can see a few familiar faces. A couple of people have joined our masterclasses before, but if you are new to me, I am Brenda Den-Vested. I am a chemical engineer by trade. I moved from Zimbabwe to Australia to study chemical engineering, and I wanted to work with L'Oreal, but I ended up working in mining instead. So a very different environment with steel cap boots, high vis, and a hard hat. But I found that I still really wanted to make people feel and understand the value that they bring. And so that brought me to become a women's leadership coach. I am now a professional speaker, represented on multiple bureaus, and have spoken on high-profile stages, TEDx and ASX listed companies. I've won some awards as well as Christine in business, multicultural business, engineering excellence. I'm the host of the Inclusive Advantage podcast and also a best-selling author. But it wasn't always like this. It's always exciting when you see someone at the end of their journey, or in the middle of their journey, which may seem like your peak. I was not someone who loved to speak. I was someone who was quite quiet, someone who was just a nodder in meetings, and it was quite daunting being a female engineer in a room full of men. You can imagine in a mine site, plenty of men, plenty of people who had more experience than me, and were from, places I'd never seen or been. And so I didn't want that to be the end of my story, though. So I started going into rooms, started going to leadership conferences, and trying to see who are the women who are in senior roles in their career and how did they get there. So on my journey, I finally started to get some tips about how they had navigated their careers. But again, I saw another problem. There's no black women on the stages, and there's women in Australia. There are quite a few of us here, but there weren't any that were represented on the stages. And I kept asking myself, where are these women? Where are the black people around here? And thinking it was someone else's problem. Until one day a small voice said, Brenda, where are you? And I said, what do you mean, where am I? I'm just here. I'm not a speaker. I'm not a person who's got anything to share. But I thought to myself, yeah, where am I? Perhaps this could be me too, on a stage, in a space, in a room where someone who's like me, wondering where are all the black women, maybe they could see me as someone. And so I went into rooms just like this, in your seats that you are today. I went into webinars, I started engaging coaches, I started listening in to how I could start to speak, how I could share my story, how I could introduce myself, how I could take this from just, speaking in a meeting to speaking on a stage. And I'm grateful to say now I can say all these things that you can see on the screen today, right? This is where I got to after, first of all, making a decision that I wanted that to be me, which I think all of you, by registering, you have already decided and sort of said, yes, I'm open to this, I'm open to learning, I'm open to this being my experience. And if you can go to the next slide, Speak Worthy Crew. I have now sort of been on many stages, and if you can see here, the first one there is when I was speaking at Dulux Group, talking on a TEDx style stage for them. It was like a little 15-minute. And gee, the 15 minutes are harder than the 1 hour, 2 hour multi-day workshop sessions, because you have to crunch all your information in. This one is at the Melbourne Convention Centre, speaking at the Raw Talk. One of those is a panel for women in STEM, and the second one's also another panel for women in STEM. 2 weeks ago, I was keynoting at a Women in Industry Awards. So it's really as much as you want to take the journey and recognizing that you do have a story to share, you do have something that's really going to stir someone's heart, stir someone's life, and actually change their life. Right? As speakers who want to get booked and paid, we'll start to share with you in the next 90 minutes that you do need to have something that's of value. Right? You do need to be solving a problem for someone else. And if you're not clear about what that is yet, then that is the work to be done, right? That is the work we're here to do. Okay, next slide, please. So I'm very excited to be guiding you. We love to speak to all our clients and help them understand how they can also access the rooms in which people are seeking their knowledge and advice. So over the next few minutes, we're going to be diving into some industry statistics. What is actually happening out there, right? Will people really pay you that fee that you think is too high? Or are you lowballing yourself, right? We're going to start to step into some of those. Which rooms are people speaking in? Do I have to be on a panel, or do I have to be on a keynote? Or where else can I actually be paid? Right? We'll talk numbers, we'll talk money, we'll talk about event organizers and what they see and what they're looking for. We'll also talk about some in-demand topics so you can see where does my topic sit in the scheme of things, and can I add value, or should I shift and change how I present my topic? And then finally, we'll discuss about how you can actually tap into the river of opportunities that are out there, right? So let's get you swimming in the right direction. Okay, let's dive into that next. I just want to hear, what are you excited about on this list? Can you show me, if you keep that other slide there, which part are you interested in? So if you're interested in the statistics, type statistics in the chat. If you want to know what type of rooms or stages that you can be paid on, maybe rooms. If you want to know about the money, if you're like, hey, show me what I can be paid, type paid in the chat. If you want to understand, hey, what the other side actually looking for and how can I align with them, type event organizers. If you're interested in your topic and seeing, what is my topic? It's really what I want. Type topic in the chat. And maybe you just want to flow down that river, right? So maybe you can type opportunities in the chat. Let's see. Okay, so you can see Sky. Oh, good evening, D.L. Allman. Sky says in-demand topics. Junie wants to know about the river of opportunities. We can see Keisha saying some in-demand topics, and Maureen as well. She wants to access the opportunities. Lanika says topics and opportunities. Brendan wants to know what the event organizers are thinking. Great, good. Jill wants to know in-demand topics and event organizers' budgets. And Danielle is keen to flow down that river. Fantastic. Okay, well, let's just dive onto that next. You guys are going to get all of this and more. Next slide, please, crew. So we want to showcase one of our clients, Rachel. So she is a subject matter expert. She is an engineer. She was ex-RAF, which is the Royal Australian Air Force, and she actually served in Afghanistan, right? So she was unsure about how to explain what she did. Why was this? Well, like many of us, she was a multi-passionate, multi-educated, and she had 5 potential ways to express her work. So we understand what event organizers are looking for. We understand which topics they are seeking. And so we helped her to really look at those 5 potential ways and transform it into just one way, and used our Speak framework to really help her to understand how best to position that. And her result, in the first week of coaching, she landed a paid speaking gig with her revised positioning and her clarity. So now her keynote titles are relevant, they resonate, and they create real results for the audience. And you'll hear me talking about these 3 R's quite a bit during the next few minutes. So if you want to write relevant, resonant, and results, there's some questions you want to ask yourself. Do you feel that your topic and what you speak about is relevant, right? Does it resonate with the people that you want to talk to? So if you think you want to talk with school children, does your story, does it resonate with them? Is it relevant? And most importantly, does it create a result? Will they experience a shift once they've left that room, left to the talk with you. Danny says, Chris and Brandon have to swap devices, so we'll keep camera off. Not a problem. You're welcome, Danny. We'll see you in the background. Okay, next slide, please. Let's start diving in to some of the industry statistics. Now, this information is coming from the States, so our lovely friends on the call will definitely align with this. This is like right in your backyard. These results are from the 2024 State of the Speaking Industry Report. 2025 is yet to be published, but what we've seen is that the results just keep getting more and more, and the money is getting higher and higher. So if anything, this is slightly under what the statistics would be like for 2025. Okay, yes, Chris, we're excited for these juicy statistics. So let's kick off. 82% of event organizers are planning the same or more events this year. So this was 2024, it was more than 2023, and we anticipate 2025 is only going up and up. And if we want to look at the types of rooms, the types of things and events that they're actually planning, 40% of these are speaker or lecture series. So this means that there's a single person sort of sitting up there, and there is a lecturer if it's in an academic space, and they are seeking one speaker for their event, right? A standalone presentation, 31% as well. So maybe there's a focal speaker for that event. So we're seeing that those two types of events are the ones that are the major ones, right? And the series actually could have a range of speakers. So they're going to be multiple speakers, whereas a standalone one is a single speaker. Perhaps there is a training session, right? So many people are quite familiar with breakout sessions at a conference. These are sort of smaller, juicy sessions, 45 minutes, 1 hour. They're on a specific topic. They may not be in a keynote format. They're just in a smaller breakout option, right? And so 26% of these were in this sort of format. Retreats and fundraisers, holiday celebrations are also coming up in a close fourth, fifth, and sixth. So whenever there is something happening, maybe they're taking away the leadership team for retreat, maybe there is a fundraiser for cancer, for a specific cause, then they are looking for a speaker to help generate interest, to sell tickets, and also to deliver an inspiring and motivating message that will help people to dig into their pockets, right? End of year celebrations, often companies love to have speakers at their Christmas party just to sort of celebrate, to give an inspirational message, to sort of maybe pull together some of the statistics that have occurred from the year, and to just celebrate different milestones. So some people actually have 50th birthdays, 60th birthdays, or a 10-year business celebration, and so they'll have a speaker as well to come in and kick off to set a high tone of celebration and joy. Sales kickoffs. So oftentimes sales teams would like to have a speaker to come in and just help motivate them, right? To help them know that, hey, rejection is going to be part of the process. We want you to keep going. How can you guys work as a team? How can you guys leverage off each other, right? So these actually happen a lot. We see a lot of these sales kickoff meetings happening and coming across our table, because people need sales, people need businesses to keep going, and so sometimes they need the people to stay motivated. And lastly, product launch. Whenever there's a new product coming through, where people want to generate a little bit of hype, a bit of activity, a bit of promotion around the new product, they will then bring you in, right? So which one of these do you think your message would suit, right? And hopefully you can probably tick a couple of these. Maybe you're thinking, okay, I could definitely deliver a training session. I could deliver a standalone presentation. I love to inspire, and I love to celebrate team efforts and team collaborations. So maybe one of these celebrations could be for me. Just write a little note in the chat for yourself, or maybe on your own journal. Where do I think my message would be worthwhile, right? Okay, next slides through. I know we've got so many of these statistics, so I want to keep moving, but make a note for yourself which one of these is enticing for yourself. Jill says speaker, standalone, and training session. Exactly, yes. And we'll see what the money actually looks like for these as well. Crew, next slide. Keisha says retreat, training, standalone, speaker, and lecture. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous. Okay, let's look what kind of presentations are being booked. Okay, so these events and event organizers are going to hire speakers for, as we said, a keynote speech, right? So you may be the person. A keynote speech is either the beginning or the end, right? So this is where you're setting the tone. You're helping people to understand, wow, we're here for a day of celebration. So you're setting a celebratory or inspiring tone, right? Perhaps the team is going through change, right? Maybe there's a merger and you're setting a tone of, a change in the tides, right? But it's a good change, you want people to, to buy into that. Workshops or training sessions, again, these are quite big. So workshops are often 90 minutes or longer. So they can be a multi-day session. Some people like these because they can go deep and go down into the information and really help people to walk away with a lot more than you would in a 15-minute, 30-minute, 45 or 1 hour keynote. Okay. Q&A or panels. So some people love panels. Why? Because there may be 3 people, there may be 4 people, and you're all getting a chance to share a snippet of your information across some questions that are being delivered to you, right? So oftentimes people will give you those questions before the event, and then you just prepare and you answer accordingly. Right? So some people like these because it's like, well, I don't have to craft a whole 1 hour speech. I don't have to memorize it. I don't have to be the only one that has the spotlight, right? So sometimes people like those, and they're quite well paid as well, panels. The next type of presentation or style of speaker is an MC or moderator, right? So this person is in charge of keeping the event energy, for maintaining the run sheet, for ensuring people are engaged, people are listening, for doing all the introductions for the speakers, and for just generally keeping things running to time and, making the event a success. So some people either think this is fantastic because it's great. You don't have to remember 1 hour. You can, celebrate others and put the spotlight on them. Other people think, oh my gosh, I couldn't think of anything worse. I do not improvise well. It should look like it when things go wrong. I'll just be, too much panic station. So please give that role to someone else, right? So which one are you? Are you panic station or are you, oh, that sounds fun, right? So have a bit of a think and see which of these speaker pathways really sounds like it could float your boat. Okay, meet and greet. So oftentimes there may be a good event, maybe there might be a book launch, there might be an event where you do the first piece of that event. So you're essentially the person where people are meeting, you're setting the tone again. There may not be a full official speech, but you are talking, maybe you're selling a book, maybe you're doing something that is a precursor to the main event. Musical entertainment and comedic entertainment. So we have got so many spoken word poets, we've got people who love comedy, and they can be selected as entertainment in between, right? To break things up, to add a different vibe, to maybe get people feeling a different experience throughout an event. And you can also definitely be paid, and paid well, for these types of engagements. Okay, so has your mind been sweetened to potentially emceeing, or have you thought, yeah, nah? Do you think perhaps you could do a training session? Are you maybe a panel person? Which one of these events resonate for you, right? Which one will you think, okay, this is a different pathway I haven't thought about? This is another way for me to open up an income pathway, right? Because the event organizers have got the budgets and have got the money and will be looking for all of these people on this list, right? Now let's have a quick look at the next slide. Ooh, we can see Keisha says workshop or training. Maureen, she likes the top 3 keynote speech, workshop, Q&A panel, mostly because you're familiar with them. Yes, that's okay. They are very good and they're very well required and paid too. Danny, I think MC would be cool. Yes, right? So you can handle the pressure, you can keep people entertained. When the tech is not working, maybe you got a quick joke that you can fill in the gap. Serena says panels sound interesting. Yes, I like panels too, because you don't have to feel too much of that pressure. You can jump on in. Danielle says the top 3. Danny says that's fun. Jill, keynote, workshop, Q&A, maybe MC. Fantastic. Okay, we love all of these. Now, I want you to sort of start to whet your appetite around the type of fees that all of these types of engagements you're interested in would bring you. And Sky says Q&A panel MC, perhaps keynote. Right, so this is the average speaking fee in 2023. Now, this is across all of the events that we saw over there, like on the prior list. So all of the ones you've just typed into the chat. The average you can see here was 8,000, and this is US dollars, right? So 8,000 US dollars was the average fee for all of that stuff, so the keynotes, right? And we can see a common fee benchmark is 2.5K. So when you start to look at the lower end of the scale, if you are beginning to speak, if you are someone who's maybe got a few, maybe let's say 3 to 5 engagements under your belt, I always like to recommend you do some free events just so you feel the energy of being in the room, feel the energy of, you know, is my message relevant? How am I feeling? Where did I lose my notes? Where did I lose all this, right? So that you're more comfortable when you're accepting the fee, right? This is always a little bit of a challenge. We see people say, I don't know if I'm going to deliver. But if you feel confident in your message, you know that you've got something that's relevant, resonates, and creates results, you can definitely start at that 1 to 3K mark, right? So 2.5K is a very comfortable 3K fee. You should be easily able to request that. 3 to 5K is where common speakers are sitting. 5K, people are quite happy to pay that without really blinking an eyelid. 7.5K, people are wanting to see that you've got some runs on the board. They're wanting to see a speaker reel. They're wanting to see that you've not just done this once or twice. They're seeing that quite a few people have trusted you, right? And we talk a little bit about how we help our clients to get all that positioning in place as well. Then you start to see 12 to 18K, so maybe you've got a book, right? So a lot of our authors, we like to get authors because they already have that lived expertise. They already have a credibility statement, which a book is, right? So that can peak up your fee a lot. 10X stages, increase your fee, right? All of these. And then once you become a more established thought leader, you start to command fees 25 to 50K, right? I always talk about a habits speaker. Anyone familiar with any famous habits speakers? Type in the chat who you know. A company sort of came to us looking for a speaker on habits because they had inquired from this famous person. If someone wants to type in the chat, let's read. And their fee was very, very high. So they're like, can we see who you've got on your books? Serena says James Clear, yes, nailed it. Sky, Atomic Habits author, yes. They contacted James Clear and James said, I'll be happy to come and speak to your crew, your team, and my fee is $50,000, right? So that was a little bit out of budget for the company that was seeking a speaker, and so they engaged us and said, hey, do you have someone who's maybe, So it is not impossible. And this is why we like to help authors to see, hey, actually, when you can have a book and you package that and that actually helps you to increase your fee, like you start to bundle up your services, like offering, relate more results. So, who is excited about these fees? Is this higher or lower than you anticipated? Tell me how you're feeling about seeing these gigs, seeing the prices on the screen. Are you shocked? Inspiring, is what are you feeling? I want to understand what emotions are coming through as you see some of these things. You can see the highest reported fee here was 60K per gig according to this actual report, this report, which is really high. And then your celebrities, people like Tony Robbins, they command a lot more just because of their name and because of their established expertise. Marine says, inspiring, much higher than I thought. Fantastic. Yes. Danielle, this is empowering. Yes, it's so good. Keisha, higher than imagined. Yes. We had a speaker who recently quoted $350 for their keynote. And we said, well, it's great that you're feeling, that you have been booked, first of all, and that you're able to price it. We want you now to continue to lift that game and lift high. Because the last thing we want is for people to say, oh my gosh, Maureen, Danielle, Keisha was amazing. The best thing is they're only $350. They spread that and then now that becomes a benchmark. No, we don't want that to be the case. We always want you to have a fee, right? So let's say you've got a 3K fee, you tell people you're going to waive your fee or you're willing to reduce it for a specific reason, right? Because your fee is $350. Okay? Jill says solid. Speaker earnings are solid, yes. Okay, next slide, please. So this is all to just showcase to you that this is the fees that people are actually able to command. But when we asked the event organizers, what was your budget for actually hiring a speaker? They showed us a very different result on the fees. So the first slide was showing you what speakers were paid. This slide is showing you that event organizers actually had an average budget of $22,449 for hiring a speaker, not for hiring speakers for the year or for hiring, speakers for the events. No, for hiring one speaker, right? So it was surprising to me when I looked at it. I was like, oh, okay, that's impressive. So they've got $22,000. So we can see here that, wow, okay, this is quite a big range of people who had a big budget for their fees, right? So less than 5,000, maybe 20% of people had this last year. 10,000, 26% had this last year. 22.9% had over $20,000, $20,000 for a speaker. 30,000, 13.82%. 50,000, 9%, right? So that is a lot of money for a speaker. So if you feel bad thinking that you are asking for a lot from your 3K, your 4K fee, 5K fee, do not feel bad because they've got the budgets for you, right? Sometimes it helps to know, to kind of feel like, oh, wow, they are working with quite a high fee. Maybe I'll give my preferred fee. Maybe I'll say 6,000. Maybe I'll say 7,000. And if they say no, well, it'll drop to the 3 or 4 that I would have went for, right? So it's kind of like when you're buying a car, when you're negotiating, don't feel that you've got to set a once and done price. You should still be able to see the value that you bring to the table. And if the event organizer is able to match it, fantastic, right? You're winning. Okay, and the last slide on the statistics. I think we've got one more to go. We want to start to talk a little bit about your topics, right? I think we've dived in enough. Through next slide, please. What topics are people actually seeking, right? What are they wanting to pay? What are they wanting to supply you with, right? Let's have a look so we can see that leadership and motivation are very, very high. People will never tire of leadership, and they'll never tire of motivation, right? Because we need it. We need to understand how to be a better leader. When people move from technical roles to people leadership roles, it's a very big change. People need to be motivated. Sometimes you just don't want to do the work. Sometimes you're disengaged. Sometimes you're working in a remote location now and you don't have your team around, so you're not motivated. Sometimes leaders don't understand how to lead people now because they're remote, and they don't know how to overcome AI because their teams are now, not doing the work. They're just letting AI dodge up a photo and say they're in a hospital or say they're sick or something, right? There's lots of concerns out there. So they will need speakers today and forevermore around leadership and motivation, right? So if you talk on this topic, you are highly in demand. DE&I, so this is a 2024 assessment. We do know that there's been a few changes now in the industry, in the climate around DEI as those words. There's still very much a need for inclusion. Humans are human. Humans will always want to feel that belonging. They'll always want to feel that they are seen, heard, and respected and valued. And hence the messages are still required, right? So maybe you want to reshape how you present that, but the message, regardless, will still be required, right? Artificial intelligence. Yeah, I think this has probably gone up a little bit in 2025 to probably number 2. People want to understand, how do we use AI? Is it a risk for our people? What governance do we need? Can we just dump our data into the system and hope for the best? Or, what do we do for safety concerns, ethics, all those questions? If this is your laneway, you are in high demand in 2025 and beyond, right? So we've got a couple of speakers who are pros in this space, and they are, really loving it. Mental health. Ooh, this one's always good. It's not going to go away. 33% of people in 2024 were booked for a mental health keynote. So if you speak on anything like this, right, if you speak on psychological safety, if you speak on the benefits of well-being, this is always going to be a highly in-demand topic, right? And a good thing we always tell our speakers to look at the calendar, right? What are the milestone celebration days? What are the days that people are looking to have on their calendars that would need your talk, right? So mental health, we know there's lots of opportunities. In Australia, we've got what we call Are You OK Day in October. We've also got Mental Health Week, we've got Mental Health Month, right? So there's quite a lot of things that are there. Jacob says, where do you think math as a topic would fit in this list under technology? Yeah, so probably technology is where maths would sit. Maths probably fits under STEM, and STEM comes under technology. And education really depends what exactly is, Jacob, and how you package that, right? Because I don't know if speakers are specifically looking for math as a topic itself, but we'll talk about the little exercise shortly in our workbook called blah, which will help you position that a bit more strongly. Then we've got annual awareness days, right? So this could be International Women's Day, right? So that's an annual awareness. We've got Women in Engineering Day, right? We've got quite a few. Maybe you can drop something in the chat that you feel are annual awareness days. In Australia, we've got what's this? What's the freeze? The big freeze. I forget who exactly it is, but there's a famous sports star. I think it's called MMD. That gets celebrated. So annual awareness days, right? What are those, and where does your topic fit nicely among some of these awareness days or fundraising opportunities, right? Culture is a big one. So if you talk about inclusion, if you talk about the way we do things around here, toxicity, the power of good management, all of those things in corporate culture are very highly relevant. Business and marketing, all the business networks need speakers around scaling your business, marketing your business, social media, online networks, masterminds, Facebook groups, they all require this information, right? Sustainability, human rights, LGBT. Right, so which one of you, where does your topic sit? Have a look at the list, see if your topic fits or sits here somewhere. If you're not clear, then perhaps you want to, adjust your topic or ensure that it fits, right? Because if leaders and event organizers are looking at this topic and they can't really see where your topic fits, then we don't want them to be doing extra work. They're just going to click past and say, it's not relevant, it's not for me. Whereas if you say, I speak on mental health, I talk about the future of work, I speak about culture, they can nod their heads and say, oh, wow, okay, so we can definitely use you in our event. So type in the chat, where is your topic? What is your topic? Where does it sit? Where are you? It says the big freeze is Fight MMD's campaign. Yes, exactly. So this is might be an Australian-based event. Hey, Jill, I'm not sure. Estate planning educator. Okay, estate planning. Yes. Let's have a look. So so we do know real estate is a big one. So if real estate is your topic, that could be something that is definitely a benefit. And education. So schools are not currently shown on this list, but definitely education. We know that the schools, environment, colleges, they're all looking for topics. But you want to also, again, sort of highlight and fine-tune, okay, what are they currently looking for? Where could I slot myself in so that they can clearly see that I'm a fit? Serena says 1, 2, and 4, so leadership, AI, and mental health, fabulous. Leadership, inclusion, and mental health. Tiffany says motivation, fantastic. Keisha, leadership, motivation, mental health, and inspirational. Yes, which is another list. Sometimes motivational and inspirational are kind of on the same, some people look at them as the same, but I agree there are two separate ones. Maureen, rebuilding science, even as it's collapsing in the US. Yes, I'd say that's tech. Public health, politics, fantastic, yes. So have a bit of a think about the topics that you sit in, and then you want to think, do I clearly solve a problem, right, for these spaces, right, and the people that you're solving that for? Because when you can clearly show that you're solving the problem, then it makes it very easy for event organizers to see you as a solution. Brandon says motivation, AI, marketing. Fantastic. You guys are going to be, from what I see here, estate planning is important. I would say spaces such as motivation, public health, and medical spaces would financial planning would be key for you. Great. Next slide, please. So I think we've dived into quite a lot of these statistics now, and we can see that speaking is not a dying industry. In fact, it is a booming one. Year on year, the budgets just keep on rising, and even with AI flying through the door, we still want human connection. We still want real experiences. We still want relevant information, and most importantly, information that creates results, right? So event organizers still need clear, relevant people, and they have got the money to spend, right? So what is the real problem then? Like, if we've got all this money, if the industry is not is not dropping away in any way, shape, or form, what is the real problem? Let's have a look. What do you feel is a problem, ladies and gentlemen on the call? I want to hear. If you can see these statistics, if you can see that you've got topics that align with these things, and you can see that you've got a topic that could be paid, where is your problem? What are you missing? Why have you not achieved the 5K, 10K speaking engagements just yet? What do you feel is the problem? Danielle says positioning or branding. Yes, yes, yes. We see this as issues, definitely. Maureen says upsets. Ooh, so is this maybe finding the gigs or being found? Which access are we referring to here? Brandon, the time it takes to outreach. Yes, yes, yes. You are right. It does take time to build relationships, to showcase that you're out there, but there's ways to fast track this process. Serena, not visible enough. If we can't see that you are there, we can't see that you are solving this problem, then we can't see that we can book you, right? So this is a very good issue that we can see, not visible enough. Danny, it's who you know, not what you know. Yes, Danny, very, very true. We speak about speaking being a relationship business all times, all places, right? Thank goodness I know you guys. Yes, Danny. We love that. We love that. Tiffany, finding the partnerships and opportunities. Yes, finding it can be a big problem that speakers have around. Where are these gigs? Where are these opportunities? Where are these 22K event organizers budgets that you are showing me? Right, so next slide, crew. I can see that you guys are on top of all of this. You are onto the magic. What most authors, subject matter experts, and speakers say is not booked is because they say finding gigs is the hardest part. And the problem is in skills though, right? Because we've seen that you guys are all saying, hey, I want to speak, hey, I want to be a keynoter, I want to do a Q&A panel, clearly got expertise, some of you have got your books. It isn't the skill. It is unclear messaging, right? So not clearly showing what problem you're solving and who you're solving it for. And then secondly, poor visibility, right? Poor visibility, not positioning. Right? So take a little screenshot of that. If you know this is some of the concerns that you're having, if this is some of the reasons why you're not getting booked. And let's move on to the next slide because we're going to start to do some activities now where we are going to actually dive in and start to resolve these problems, right? Because we want to get you guys to be very clear about what gets you booked, right? What is going to get you booked? Next slide, please, crew. So we've got 3 key things that are going to keep you from getting booked and 3 key things that are actually going to get you booked, right? So if you've got a relevant message, right? We spoke about our good client, Rachel, who had too many messages, right? So this was getting her overlooked because she was doing things around the AI space, mental health, leadership. She was sort of jumping around, bouncing around. It wasn't clear. Well, we want someone who's a key expert in this. You seem to be a jack of all trades. When she got a clear, relevant message that solved a real problem, then they were like, oh, okay, we want to book you, right? What do we mean by solving a real problem, right? So if you can see clearly, right? So what are people struggling with? What are the things that they're solving? What keeps them up at night, right? So for corporate leaders, well, it's engaged people, you know. Maybe they've got lots of people leaving. Maybe they've got lots of people chucking sickies or taking sick leave and not coming into work, so absenteeism, right? And you come in and you say, hey, I help your teams or I help your leaders to understand the motivations of their teams and to get more buy-in so that they are retained, engaged, and enthused to work. Wow, well, we need that. We have had 6 people leaving last week or last month or last 3 months. You solve this problem, we want you. We're keen to book you, right? So that's a clear outcome that they desire, and it's a real problem you're solving for them. They're like, we want you. Packaged for decision makers, right? So when you're saying that you are speaking on a topic that is perhaps packaged, aligned with your book, right? So let's say my book topic is, I don't know, let me see. I've co-authored a book called Secrets of the Construction Industry, right? Keynote titled Secrets of the Construction Industry is not exactly packaged for a decision maker. But if I was to say, stepping up and speaking up for women in the construction industry, wow, now I'm a decision maker. Now I know I've got women in my team that I want to, climb up the ladder. Actually, I want to book that keynote. right? So you want to rethink, how am I shaping my keynotes? Does it actually look like it's ready for the decision maker to say yes, or is it just because I like it and it's matching my branding and my topic and how I see things? We need to shift that lens, right? Let's get it clear for the booker why they need us and why they need us today, right? It must not be a nice to have, it needs to be a must have. Whew. Okay, I think that landed for a few people. Type yes in the chat if you can see which one of these maybe has caused you to be overlooked and how you can shift it so you can be booked. Type a yes, type a Y, type an emoji, type a hell yes. Whatever you need to see here. We want to get very clear, right? Because we can see it's very difficult to make decisions these days. There's so much information. It's easy to scroll on, to push past, to go next. If you are not clear, decision makers will scroll. We don't want you to be scrolled on, right? So get a relevant message, showcase the problem you're solving, and package it so that they see that you are the answer, right? Not that so that it looks good in your view. Perfect. You can see Carla says yes, Maureen says yes, Serena says yes, Chris says yes, Jill says yes, Judy, yes. Fantastic, everybody. Okay, let's move on to the next one. We can see that if you're unclear, we want to remind you that we've got a bonus here for you, right? You can actually book a call and say, oh my gosh, you were like screaming at me when I was on the call today. I've got 6-7 different topics. I think these ones can get me booked. I talk about a topic, but it's really kind of just the way I see it. How do I get decision makers to see it better? We're happy to help you look through that, right? 30 minutes, quick call, no obligations. Good, right? Crew, I'll get you to drop that chat in there again. Book again in the next 48 hours. Have a look in our calendar, see what's available. Ask us, hey, do you think I can get booked to this? Do you see what is missing? Am I really someone who can command a proper fee right now with what I've got? Or do I need to switch it, shift it, right? We're going to go to some exercises now, which will help you to see some of the problems and how to resolve them. But we know that there's lots more work to do to help you find, shift, and secure these bookings. So we want you to book the call. Okay, next slide there. So quickly looking at the problems that some of our speakers had when they started, before they started to do this work, is the same things that you've said, pretty much. Too many topics, limiting beliefs, right? Mindset is a big one for speakers. Sometimes you're like, yes, I've got a message to share. Yes, I've filled the book. I've done the book. Yes, I've got it. But now you've been booked. You're like, will I land the message? Will I memorize this thing? Will the event organizers rebook me? Will they be happy? Will the audience say, yes, this is so good? Right? So we deal with the mindset issues as well. Core delivery, well, we help you to upgrade that because we don't want people to think that you're boring. We don't want people to feel like you just dumped the trauma on them and they didn't get what they needed out of that message. And so we really make sure that we are resolving some of these problems that speakers come to us with. Unable to find paid gigs, we solve those issues. Unclear message and poor positioning, right? So these are all key things that we resolve. What do you think has been your problem with being booked? Yes. Yes to not dumping the trauma. Yes, Keisha, because we see so many speakers oftentimes they don't know. They've simply gone through something traumatic, they've come to the other side and they share that, right? But oftentimes viewers are left thinking, well, what was really in that for me? Like, what did I take home from that? Like, yes, Keisha went through something cool. Yes, Brenda went through something cool. Chris has navigated something interesting. I don't feel that really helped me, right? We don't want people to be feeling like that. So that's why we're always thinking, what's in it for them? What's in it for the audience? What are they getting? What is the insight from this trauma that I navigated, right? And how can they navigate their own trauma now that they've left your room, your talk, speak. Okay, we need some time now for you guys to actually get your pens wet, get your activities wet. Let's move on to our workbook. Next slide, please. And if you joined our call before, after we dropped the workbook link, we're going to be dropping that into the chat again now. Please, let's get that open. Case study. We've got Pam here. Pam was one of our lovely clients. Her expertise is in radio. She runs a local radio station. She came to us with a desire to speak on stage, right? She was like, okay, I want to speak on stage. And she was like, I've got a fantastic story to share, right? I've navigated so much trauma after trauma, issue after issue, and I think it'll be really inspiring. So she was focused too much on her story, but not about what is in it for them, right? And every time we ask our clients, what is in it for them? Why have you shared this story? Why have you shared this insight? What is it going to do for them? So using our framework, we help Pam to get clarity on her ideas, right? And which ones are actually ticking the box for the 3 R's. She then positioned this into a proper keynote and established her golden thread message for a coaching program, right? So a golden thread, for those of you who aren't in our world yet, golden threads are what matches your story, your strategy, and your service, right? Nice little accordion that you can pull and close so that people leave and understand why you, what makes you different, what makes you magical. So now her keynote moves people and opens doors, because it's not just inspiring and people thinking, oh, good on you, Pam. They can now see, oh, wow, I need this. I am needing this transformation too. And hence it opens more doors into her coaching program after the fact, right? So this is what we want you guys to be able to do, not just to speak on a stage and then like tick a box and get the applause. We want you to have something that people can do after they've left the room with you, right? People want to understand, how can I work with you more? What else do you offer? And we want you to have an answer to that question, right? Yes, Danielle, story, strategy, and service. Fantastic. That is our golden thread, beauty. Now we are going to open up our workbooks. Chris, I'm going to hand over to you so you can take our lovely team through some of these exercises. I can see our time is is cruising nicely.
Yeah, we're on point.
Yes, over to you.
Thank you. Brenda, as always, every single time I hear about those statistics, I get the chills, because it reminds me that, people are seeking speakers and people want what everybody else is talking about, and they're willing to pay for it. So I'll just bring the crew, I'll just ask the crew to go to the next slide, because this slide actually opens up our workbook quite nicely. And the slide is to remind us to have a belief shift. Okay, it's not saturated as your message, it's actually just unclear. So always remember, you don't need more content, you need more clarity, you don't need more time, you just need a very systematic roadmap. So hopefully we will be able to show you what that is. So if you open up the workbook, and I'm just going to go to my copy as well, so we're all following, and maybe the crew can share the screen for those who might have a problem if they're driving or whatever it is, just to listen in. So if we go to our first page, is to set your intention. I think this is a nice little flow in before we start doing the heavy lifting, is for you to think about why you should be booked and why you should be paid. And I always like to do this exercise for myself before I go on a stage or into a room. And I spend some time to write down 3 solid reasons for myself. Okay, because it's a really nice affirmation for ourselves to say, well, if I come into a situation, if I've come into a room or I've come onto a stage and I'm not even confident, okay, then we better start doing the pre-work. So this is a nice little sentence opener to get our brains thinking. I should be booked and paid because. So let's get real here, because later on we're going to do an exercise called booked or blah, and that's a very interesting one. So before we do get there, a lot of people a lot of our clients, they go, oh, I want to do something, I should be booked and paid because, and then they give me a very inspiring, fluffy answer. We don't want that. We want you to really think about the real problem that you're solving and what real room you want to do that in. So, for example, I was just having a chat with Jill on the main chat thread, and Jill said, oh, it's about estate planning. This is my area of genius. I know a lot about it. What sort of rooms do I need to be in? What is the real problem that I'm solving? Right, so for estate planning, it's what do you do with people's assets? Okay, because Jill and I have been in finance, so this is, I'm not an estate planning expert, But these are some of the real problems that people have. And then, if you don't know, really have a think about what real rooms can I solve this in? So, do we have to go to every financial planner under the sun, financial advisory under the sun, and ask them if their clients actually have anyone who's speaking to them about estate planning, for example? Right, and after today's statistics and knowing what spaces, guess what, Jill? You're not actually confined to that room. You're actually not confined to those stages. You'd be surprised. Okay, so have a think about this part of the booklet, and maybe give yourself about a minute now just to write down, I should be booked and paid because, address the real problem and potentially the real room. So we'll just do maybe a minute on that, and if you want to, type it into the chat so that you can solidify that for yourself too. Let's do a quick minute. Just put a timer on. I should be booked and paid because. So what is the real problem you're solving, and what room do you see yourself in? Tiffany says I have two. I'm stuck on the third reason. Yes. Let's dig deep, Tiffany. What's the real problem and what's the real room? Great. Okay. All right. Thank you, crew. We're going to move over to the next. Thank you, crew. We don't need the music. We're going to move to the next page on a myth breaker moment. So, as Brenda was saying before, a lot of people think I've got a lot of content and that's what people want. Okay? But that's a myth. So the myth is you need more content to get booked. And if we recall our client Rachel, who had 5 areas that she was talking on, and then going round and round in circles wondering why nobody was booking her. Well, clearly because she was a jack of 5 trades and people weren't quite sure if she was master of any of them. Okay, so think about your own topic and ask yourself, do you have commercial clarity on one clear golden message? Right, so we've got a quick checklist here for yourself. Ask yourself, what's kept me from landing paid gigs until now? So this is, again, the workbook is for clarity purposes for yourself. So some of these check boxes are, I have too many possible messages. So have a think about what you're talking about now, what you've been trying to dabble with. Number 2, I've spoken before, but I've never been paid. Has that been a moment of truth for you? I don't know what to charge. Okay, has that been a problem so far? Because all the statistics that Brenda shared with us today, I'm like, you should by now have an idea of your range, higher, lower, all of that. I don't have a talk that solves a business problem. Okay, so maybe that has been an issue so far. Or I feel invisible to the right decision makers. And I think that has come through in the chat quite a bit. So if you have any others that you feel have kept you from landing paid gigs, or any at all for that fact, maybe put that down in the workbook or share it in the chat as well. So Brenda says to Tiffany, are your experience resonant with the audience? Are they relevant, and do they create results? So just remind yourself of that. when you're thinking about the reasons that you're in this lull, that it's been keeping you from getting some paid gigs or landing any rooms, spaces or stages, right? Are they the 3 R's? Relevant, resonant, and generating results. All right, so let's move to our next page, which is page, I think it's page 3, or the third part of this workbook. And we love for people to reflect on their topic. So we've decided, and this is my teacher hat coming on, my educator hat coming on, have a look at some of these statements that we've created, and I want you to put on your event organizer hat. Would you book any of these people with these topics, or would you just say, blah, that's a whole load of blah, please move on to the next person? So let's evaluate some of these topics, and I want you just to tell me if any of these are booked or blah. Okay, so maybe put booked and maybe put blah if you think that these are landing with you. Imagine you are the event organizer. What would you do? Okay, so the first one is empowering women to be their best selves. Would you book this? Love it. Danielle's on the money. That's a blah, okay? We don't know what that even means. Okay, what about number 2? Speak up without being shut down. Leadership for women in industry. Woo! Danielle is definitely going to book that one, because so would I. Look at the clarity on that. Okay, and I love that up and down juxtaposition. It's beautiful, and specifically it is about leadership, women, and industry. Okay, next one. Change your mindset, change your life. I don't know about you. Yep, clear no for me as well. Clear no for me. Right, that's a blah blah blah. What does that even mean? Next, rethink the hustle. A mindset shift for sustainable success. Yep, that's a yes. What about finding your passion? Anyone? Any takers? Event organizers? No. Okay, big fat no. Sky says no with capital letters. And last one, reclaim your voice. How to lead language, not just confidence. Yes, Daniel says double yes. So if you think about your own topic, okay, Sky's booking the last one for sure. So if you have your event organizer hat on, just do a bit of a mini role play with yourself. Are you empowering women to be the best selves? Or are you speak up without being shut down, leadership for women in industry? So I think just to reassess in your own mind, am I a blah topic, or am I really going to resonate with the event organizers out there where they're like, yes, 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 and yes. Okay, takeaways. Specificity is key. You got it, girl. Fantastic. Next page. So in a snapshot for booked versus blah, I want you just to think about your current talk, okay, if you have one, or your signature story, and just ask yourself these questions, and do you fit the criteria? So the first one is, does your current topic or story solve a business relevant problem? Okay, is it yes, or is it not yet? And if it's not yet, there's your gap. Next, does it make the organizer look good for booking you? Now that is a mindset change if you think about it, because Brenda reminded us before, I'm sorry to tell you, it's not about you. It's about what's in it for them. And those people are your event organizer, your audience. So does it make the organizer look good for booking you? Next, can you pitch your topic or signature talk in 15 seconds? Is it a resounding yes, or is it not yet? As again, there's your gap. And do you feel confident charging for it? So we spoke about confidence just before, so think about where you're going to be placed monetarily, and has today's talk shifted that for you? Okay, so is it yes, or I'm still feeling a bit of heebie-jeebies because I don't have everything else all those criteria yet. Okay, so I like this page because it really gets us thinking about our own signature talk and our own story that's out there. Okay, next page, please. So the next page is book speaker keynote ingredients, because I think it's really important that you think about your own talk and ask yourself, do I have these ingredients in there? Is my cake missing some eggs or flour, or, are there missing pieces in my talk that might just be where I need to refocus my ideas and refocus myself? So speakers who are remembered, requested and referred consistently, okay, need these ingredients, and generally they have it all here. So think about your signature talk and just check these boxes. And I think for yourself, it's a great idea to describe this in full when you have some time, okay? When you have some time, because it really helps you go back and identify your own keynote. If you don't have one, this is great, okay? Because you can start from scratch. But if you do have one, it's really awesome to hone in on the gaps and fill them in. So the first criteria is, are you solving a pain point? Okay, and don't forget, just because in your mind you might be thinking you're solving it, but it's not explicit, then it's a no. Okay, but if you are spelling it out, it's quite explicit to your audience, then it's a yes. And for yourself, please try and describe this in full so you are articulating it for yourself, because if somebody reads it, or if you're booking a strategy call with us and we're going through this list with you, and what you think is a pain point, but in fact is not for the listeners, then that's where we need to do some work. Okay. The next criteria is, do you have a clear method and message? Do you have a clear method and message to solve your pain point? Right. And if you do, describe this in full to yourself. And again, the exercise is for you to articulate what that could be. And again, when you speak to us, Brenda and I might be of another opinion, and I think that's a real great insight for yourself as well, okay, to start solving these issues. Criteria: does your speech have credibility or proof? Credibility or proof? Is it backed up by statistics or evidence, or, yes or no? Describe that in full. Bring your ideas to life with well-told stories that land. Okay, just to give you an idea, there was part of my life as an educator where I taught creative writing, and thus, writing with lots of flair, using the right words, going deep rather than wide. And this, I believe, would be the hardest part. I have heard so many different speeches. I heard the other one the other day, and I thought to myself, beautiful story, that should have been a lot more touching than the way it was delivered and the way it was written. And it was talking about, a death in the family, but it just didn't land. So if you have these stories that are quite deep, but you've only gone wide with them, have a rethink about it, okay? Because people buy people, people connect with people. And so think about how your stories can resonate with the people listening to it. And of course, the very last one, the criteria is, does it give your listeners a transformative shift? Does it give your listeners a transformative shift? Because if it doesn't, or it hasn't, there's your gap. Okay? And you've got to get that done. All right. So this brings us to the very last page of the workbook, and I really want you to, again, close the loop for yourself. And thank you, Brenda. Yes, these are gems, because you are your best guru, if that makes any sense. You are your best teacher, and being the best teacher reflectively, right, before going to a coach or speaking to somebody, you've got to know, well, what are my gaps and what do I need help with now? Okay. And when you do go to a coach, when you do go to an educator, that's where you go, hey guys, this is where I'm really lacking, and I really need help in this part. And that just helps you scale wherever you go much faster. So the very last page is future opportunities. What becomes possible when you nail this? I love this page because it sort of resonates with the first page and it closes that intention for yourself. I'm going to give you probably 2 to 3 minutes, and I want you to write down for yourself at least 6 outcomes to the following question. And 6 outcomes to the following questions. And just spend a bit of time on this because it's about being kind to yourself and explore what's possible. So the question for you is, what would change for you? Okay, what would change for you? And then what would change for you in your business if you were to book just 2 paid gigs per quarter? Just 2 paid gigs per quarter. What would that mean for you? What would change for you? So I'm going to get the crew to put on a bit of music, and just for yourself, just list down some of these outcomes. And I just want you to imagine, I've done it, I've booked it. What does that mean for you if you have just need to book 2 paid gigs? Just a couple of minutes. Fantastic. How are we going, everybody? If you want to share, please drop it into the chat. What does the future look like if you were just to book 2 paid gigs per quarter? What would change for you? What would change for you? what would change for you and your business if you booked just 2 paid gigs per quarter? Absolutely, Danielle. If you feel like you want to share, please do so. Otherwise, reflect on your workbook, and I think this is a great reminder to everybody that it can be done. You've seen the statistics. You have even identified your own gaps, and I think it's a great way to start reassessing and assessing the speech that you have already and the stages, spaces, and rooms that you want to be in. Danielle says, a few of mine expanded network. Yes. Think about all the people who are going to hear what you say, and then you don't know who's going to be in the audience. More income and increased confidence. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing that. Maureen says, it would provide me with additional authority and visibility to get both the science and the methods to make science accessible to others without them feeling stupid. I cannot agree more, because it's not everybody's cup of tea. And if you can make the complex simple, that is where it's going to land. Maureen says, challenge misinformation, correct, but making people question their understanding of what science should be all about. The people should own it and provide additional consulting and speaking opportunities, 100%. So thank you so much for sharing that, Danielle and Maureen, because whatever your topics are, you've got to remember there are audiences out there who are waiting for you, okay? And if your challenge is, I don't know where to look, I don't know what to do, I don't know who to speak to, well, this is your go-to, okay? This is Speakworthy, this is your go-to. And I'm glad that we've given you lots of gems today to take away and think about what this means to you and what this means if you have or have not got a speech. It's a fantastic way to fill in all the gaps that you have, okay? So thank you for sharing. Have a look at, so if everybody can go back to the slides, thank you, crew, for doing that, because we're going to start really reinforcing some things that we spoke about today. And the first slide that I've got there is, just to remember for yourself that you're a speaker. That's next one. Nope. Just the one after the word workbook. Just the word workbook. Yep. One more slide over. Is that the next slide? Yep, this is the one. So this is belief shift number 2, for you to remember that you're a speaker with a message, okay? That you're a speaker with a message, and in bold, you're underpackaged. Okay, so you're a speaker with message and you're underpackaged. Okay, because if you're an author, if you're a subject matter expert, you have a message. Okay, and think about your own packaging. Why is it this low? Where are you at the moment? Have a think about all of those things that we spoke about, and the income that you can demand. So let's go to the next slide, please. Okay, so why would we love to work with you, and why would we love to invite you to work with us? Because this is what makes us different. We support underrepresented authors and subject matter experts, and that's you. So if you haven't gotten onto a big stage, please come and see us. Number 2, packages your expertise into a monetizable product suite, not just a speech. So if you recall Pam actually came to us with pretty much nothing. She said, she's a radio host, by the way, so it's not like she doesn't have reach. Okay, Pam is a radio host. She has reach, but she didn't know what to do with it. Okay, so she's a radio host. She's speaking all the time, but she didn't have a keynote. She didn't have a speech. She didn't know how to put her amazing stories together and where it would land for her audience. And we just got a message the other day from Pam, because she's still working with us. I've finally finished my monetizable product suite, and I'm ready to blast it out into the world. I think Pam started working with us in January, and it's July. So we're talking about a 6-month window. It's fast, okay, because we don't waste any time. We guide you with clear messaging. We guide you with clear positioning, because I remember in the chat box, some people were saying that messaging and positioning, they don't know, have I got 5 messages? Have I got 10 messages? Like, what do I have that will land with others? Okay, and this is where we invite you to this call with us, a strategy call. Maybe put that into the chat box again for everyone to access, just to talk about your messaging and positioning, if that is something that's challenging you. And of course, we focus on genuine and aligned sales and pitching strategies. I've been in sales for 30 years, okay? It's not fun when it's all sleazy. It's not fun when you're speaking to people and they can just see right through you, okay? So we are not advocates of that. I think I was speaking to one of the people on this call yesterday. She said, this is what I'm really interested in. And I said, look, I'm just going to be upfront. This is what we charge. If this is you, come and join us for some fun. Okay, we've got the expertise. We've helped a lot of people, and come to the masterclass, and just listen in. Ask yourself if this aligns with you, if this is where you're missing lots of pieces in what you're doing. We're here to help you. So next slide, please, because we want to talk to you. We want to spotlight a few people who've been great success stories for us, and we're so proud of them. So the first one there is Ryan. Ryan has a wealth of expertise, and we pitched him to Lendlease and Capella there. From memory, I think they're in property. But Ryan has nothing to do with property. He's actually in the AI space. Okay, so just to give you an idea. Rachel, you've heard of in our earlier part of our call, and she was hired within the first week by Women in Hire, and they're very much about females working in leadership positions in male-dominated spaces. And I do have to give ourselves a little bit of a toot, right? Chris and Brent, lovely people, I believe. And, we recently secured a very large Australian corporation. And again, we're going in for a 1-day workshop with their executive team, and this is a high 5-figure amount, okay? 1 day, okay, just to give you an idea. Myself, I've actually been part of the Wegovy rollout, Nordisk, if anyone knows, the big pharma. Sometimes it's very enticing to take one of those things, for my own body. But hey, I have great body image. I don't have any image issues. So it was a very fun event, and it was all about, communication. So again, these are success stories. We've got another page of success stories. If you can just click over, crew. Okay, so we were having a banter with Danny. Danny has an amazing story you would never guess. I'm not sure if his socials are still around, but Danny is a very interesting character. How do I put it to you? Danny had a very tough, upbringing, lots of street drugs, sort of background. And we pitched him to schools and another industry leader called TradeFlex, and it was all about resilience and transformation. Okay, so I just want you all to have a think about your own topic and not be boxed in by, and I am actually speaking to Jill specifically, actually, not to be boxed in by just a topic that may in fact resonate across lots of industries. Devesh is actually a leader in his own industry. He is a multi-award winner, Migrant's Life. He has he's part of the tech space. He's very influential in his own Indian culture, and we pitched him. Nathan is a spoken word poet, and he was pitched to Dulup's group. Nothing to do with painting or paints or homes. And they wanted a lovely speaker for their event. Zach is a celebrity speaker. I do like Zach, only because he's my son. And the fact that he's young, he's got a lot of oomph about him, and very much the fact that he has his own topic about motivation and, speaking to youths. But guess what? He wasn't pitched to any of those spaces. He was actually pitched to an event that was just about speaking on an entertaining topic. So he shared what it was like behind the scenes on a film set, for example. Okay, so I guess what I'm really trying to say here is think broadly and think about how we can also help you on your topic, on your signature speech, or work on a signature speech that is broadly, what's the word I'm looking for? Just appealing to the industries across the board. Okay, so let's go to the next slide, if we may. So always ask yourself these 3 questions. You don't need to be famous. You just need to be findable. Okay? So you've got to ask yourself these 3 questions. Why this? Why this topic now? So ask yourself, why is your topic relevant now? Then you've got to ask yourself, well, why you? Why do they want to choose you over somebody else? Right? And why now? Why do they need to get you on that stage, in that room, in that space right now? So next slide, just to remind you that, next slide, you don't need more ideas. You need a talk that is clear, that has a simple roadmap for your audience, and you need a place to be seen. And you need a place to be seen. So, Brenda, should I give you the stage now?
You're me, Chris. I think I'd love to hear from everyone. What has been your key takeaway? What has been the big gem or the big aha moment so far from the content that we've shared, from the workbook exercises, from the industry statistics? What are you leaving here thinking, oh wow, okay, I understand one action I can take as I leave now. I understand I need to be more clear. I need to be thinking of event organizers. I just want to know, what are your ahas from today, right? Because Chris and I always love to, we think all of it's ahas. Because a lot of our clients have come in and we've solved these specific problems for them. But it's always good to hear from yourself. What landed? What are you taking away? And what are you doing? What has landed for you today? Right? Show us those key takeaways. Oh, Selena has jumped on. I don't need to be famous. I need to be findable. Yes, sometimes we are the best kept secret. So it's good to know that our outcome for today has worked for you, Serena. You need to be findable. Tiffany, does my message meet those 5 notes you mentioned? Good, I like that, right? So that was a pain point. That was the pathway. Is there a way for you to get results when they listen to you, right? Because your story is clear. Is your evidence and proof there? Right? And lastly, is there an action they can take? Maureen, clear strategy behind becoming a paid speaker. I love that. Jill, the 3 R's, relevant, resonant, and results. Yes, exactly. Danielle, framing my message with a strong, clear title. Yes, because that's the first thing that workers will see. And all of it is helping you to feel more confident in myself. Wow, wow, wow. That's such a great result, Danielle. I love that. Keisha, really working on paring down your topic. Yes, to have a clear and relevant message that will resonate and help people with results so that they can apply what you share with them. Yes, yes, yes. I'm loving that this is all sinking in, right? It's really moving and shifting from I want to be on the stage, I'm comfortable talking to people, I want to get paid, to thinking about, okay, I can see the shifts that people will have after they listen to this. I can see the problem that I'm solving. I can see that people can walk away and the ripple effect of them applying what I've spoken about can be audience, right? So I love this, I love this, I love this. Through next slide, please. We want to step into our last promise for the day, which was to supply you with an offer to you. Next slide, please. So today's offer is to really to open up the Speaks program to yourselves, right? The Speaks package really involves us leveraging and answering quite a few of the questions that we saw today that common speakers have. And the first one is crafting a keynote. And it's not just any keynote, it's one that solves the problem, right? It's one that meets and ticks those 5 boxes that we showed you. What does that keynote look like, right? The second bit of the package is to package yourself to be commercially attractive, commercially clear, commercially relevant, and commercially attractive to the people that have got the money to exchange with you, right? Learning to pitch with integrity, right? How do we do this? How do we find those data? How do we email them? Do we cold pitch? Do we just pick up a phone? What are we actually doing? How do we get ourselves in front of these speakers and event organizers and decision makers? And lastly, a roadmap for you to get booked and paid, right? So if you're excited about all this, which I can see from the ahas that you mentioned, I think this will definitely be something that's of excitement and of value to you. Because Sky says working on building clarity on one clear message that is relevant and resonates and creates value. This is exactly what the Speak package does. Crew, if you can go on to that next slide, let's dive into what is actually involved, right? And what changes. So before Speaks, you're likely going to be confused about what to share, how much to share, how deep do I go? I've only got an hour, but I've got 6 stories. What do I need to do? After Speaks, you've got a crystal clear keynote with the stories that are going to resonate, be relevant, and create the right results for your audience, right? Before the Speaks program, you're probably speaking for free, you're speaking for exposure, you're accepting what people are saying to you with regards to pricing. And afterwards Speaks, you actually know, when I can position myself like this, when I can showcase myself in this way, I can actually get booked and paid for my expertise, not just get paid in exposure, right? And we talk about how you can leverage the different assets that you get, right? Maybe when you're speaking for free, to actually get you paid. Before Speaks, maybe you've got too many ideas, no strategy, like some of our previous clients. We give you the framework-driven keynotes that are going to open the doors and attract your bookers, right? The ones that you are attracting, the ones that are already looking, that you flow down the river of the opportunities, right? So this is exactly what we do through the Speaks program. You may currently be hesitant to pitch yourself, right? A lot of business owners, they love the delivery, they love the coaching, they love the service provision, they love the results that clients get. But that first hurdle of actually asking for the money, asking for the pitch, is the piece that we always see people are shaky on and wobbly on. And I always say that sales is the transference of belief. When you believe in yourself, the rest flows to you, right? So after Speaks, we help you to get confident and certain about your value, because when you transfer your belief, people will simply pick it up, open up their wallet, and pay you for your value, right? So next slide, please. I can see that a lot of these things that are attractive for our speakers, given the ahas. And one more testimonial from our lovely Sharon. Sharon is the founder of Brilliant Brunettes, a hair salon in Canada that many people fly over to get their hair resolved after many botched colorings. She is the brunette master, and she's a global subject matter expert in the hair industry. She says that she didn't realize how much her story mattered until she started working with us, right? And she actually used our keynote framework. She built messaging that was resonant, relevant, and she used it in a live masterclass, right? So we've spoken about stages, we've spoken about keynotes, but if you run your own events, the things that we teach you as well are actually very effective. And she used them and she got a 26K outcome from her launch, right? So messaging matters, and it pays to do it well and to do it with your audience in mind, right? So this is exactly what we want for you to get out of our Speaks program. If you can go through the next slide, we want to showcase what is included in this offer, right? Next one, please, crew. The Speaks program is a full 6-month program. So what it includes is $3.5K is the full price for it, or you can do 6 monthly payments for $700. It includes the things we've just spoke about. The first one is crafting your keynote, right? So we give you the framework, the credentials and the expertise, evidence you need to showcase in your keynote so that it's positioning you for the right rooms, spaces, and stages that you want to be in, right? We also give you an opportunity for Hot Week coaching. So every week we're going to be live, we're going to be teaching you a module, we're going to be showcasing how you can craft that keynote. We step you onto the stage and you show us, hey, I'm not sure if this is really landing. I'm not sure if this is really gonna, tick the 3 R's. We let you know, actually, yes, do this, tweak it here, showcase this differently, right? Get people out of the valley. What is the insight you're really showcasing as part of your talk? And we've got a beautiful online resource library. So in here, in the Speaks library, we are showcasing you how do we actually pitch? How do we actually position ourselves to captivate an audience? How do we select stories that are going to actually move this audience, right? How do I share my story so it's not so heavy and it's not so charged, right? We talk about the golden thread. How do I match my story, my strategy, and my service so that it makes sense to people why I'm the one talking about this, right? We also go through a couple of things around TEDx. A lot of people want to talk about TEDx. We've got a 6-pack, we call the TEDx 6-pack in there. That just really helps you to position yourself for your TEDx applications and also get that if that's part of your thought leadership journey. Community support and practice lab. This is probably the priceless piece, I would say, for the program, because you're in a room full of other speakers, other people who are clarifying their message, others who are really resonating and getting results out in the market that are coming back and sharing with you what they've done, what they've pitched, how they've landed corporate gigs, how they've landed corporate workshops and big packages, right? And the practice lab, this is the space where you come in and you actually deliver your keynote. Right? You practice it in a real room, in a safe space where people can say, okay, you're going to need to tweak that. Or we were feeling like this was actually a bit heavy, or we don't really know what we're going to do after we've listened to your talk. It wasn't very clear, or we were inspired. We loved it. We did this, right? We give you that real-time feedback so you can understand that your talk is going to really leverage and meet the bill in the market. And most importantly, pricing. Where do I price myself? Like, I've done 4 free ones. Am I right now to go to the 3.5, to go to the 3K? Are people actually wanting to already pay 5K because I've got different credibility, because of my book, because of what I've already established, because of the people who know me, the testimonials I've got in place? All of these things are playing into it, right? So we showcase to you how you can leverage all of that as you pitch, as you market yourself with the templates and the scripts to match it. And of course, as you can see from our prior statistics, you can speak once and make this all back, right? So this is definitely a gift that keeps on giving. You can learn this once and you can continue to make bank from your keynote. So type in the chat, which one of these little pieces are you most excited with? Do you want to really hone your keynote or get it positioned for the right rooms and stages? Do you think the hot seats coaching is actually what will be beneficial for you? Like, I just need someone to show me if this is really making sense. I want a safe space for me to do this, right? Are you thinking, wow, that online library sounds interesting. I'd love to just, consume content at my own time, in my own space, rewatch the video and rewind until I fully get things, right? Or maybe for you, the community support is what's really attractive. Like, I like the idea that I'm around others. Like, I just need to see people winning. I need to hear other people's questions and learn from them, because sometimes people bring things up that I haven't even thought about, right? Or maybe the practice lab, the ability to actually hone in on your keynote, on your message, to get real-time feedback to see, is this landing, or is this really needing to be leveraged even further? And finally, how do I price this thing? How do I land and communicate in a negotiation conversation? What are the steps? Can I just dump my price in an email as I cold pitch 100 people, or is there a better way for me to do that? Okay, let's have a look. Type in the chat which one of these is most excited for you. Danielle says refinement through hot seat coaching and crafting. Keisha says the first two, so that's crafting the keynote and hot seat coaching to refine. Jill says everything is what I need. Fantastic. And Tiffany says all of them, please. Well, fantastic. We like that because we want to only give you the things that are going to be necessary for you to achieve all of this, right? So let's go to that next slide. Let's give you the link. Let's give you everything you need to do. In fact, you already have the link. You simply need to book a call for you to be able to access all of this. We have a conversation with you, and then you can proceed to be a part of the Speaks package. But if you are calling and locking in your call and you're paying for the next 48 hours, you will get a one-on-one keynote assessment and a brand audit from the one and only myself and Christine. So this is actually priceless because we do not do one-on-one sessions with people anymore. So you're actually getting us to get our eyes on your keynote. We look at the 5 elements we spoke about and we see if it is sitting well. And most importantly, do your socials paint a similar picture, right? So this is really getting you positioned and visible and valuable. We were going to give you 20 stages that are seeking speakers now. So someone said in the beginning, well, finding these gigs really is a challenge. We don't know where to go. Where are these people really? We are going to give you 20 places that are looking for speakers now, right? And this doesn't matter if you are in Australia, if you're in America, if you are in Zimbabwe, these places are seeking for you now. And you also get an additional 30-minute strategy call, right? So if you've already booked the one that we gave you for free, we have got an additional one that you can choose to use for whatever purposes. If you want to have us do a hot seat feedback for yourself, if you want to do a practice lab, if you want more work on your positioning and you've gone away and you've done your homework, we are going to sit down with you again for 30 minutes to strategize so that you can get paid ASAP. And then lastly, pre-sale access to our mastermind retreat. So those of you who have been following our socials, you'll see that we do have a Melbourne retreat coming up soon. This may be local to some of our listeners, may not be so good for our American friends, but we are looking to go overseas in the next year. So stay tuned for all of that. We'd love to have a retreat in Houston or in New York City, where some of you are located. So we will definitely give you guys pre-sale access to our mastermind retreats so that you get the best price on those as well. Okay, I think, next slide please, crew. I wonder if there's any questions from anyone on the call from anything that we've covered. This is just a nice little pretty picture for you to see everything in. You can take a screenshot of that. Are all of these included in the 6-month program? Yes, they are, Danielle. Feel free to take a screenshot. Yes, Chris, you can look at this, see what's in there now. That little QR code will give you access to the link that you already have, which is scheduling a discovery call with us. And that's it. So is there another slide, crew? I think there may be one more left, which is simply just another reminder for you to apply now. Go ahead if you want to get, if you want to move rooms as an author, as a subject matter expert, if you want to get paid to do it. Let's help you build that keynote. Let's position and open the doors that you desire to open together. Please, 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 let's take a screenshot before you all duck out and disappear. Would love to get a quick photo with you. Tiffany says, thank you all. Maureen says, this is fantastic. Look forward to speaking with you. Fantastic. We love that, Maureen. Danielle, many thanks. Great to be with you all. Great to be with you too. Sky, this was a fabulous session. Thank you, Brenda and Chris. I need to drop off. You're welcome, Sky. We loved having you. Keisha, thank you for all the info. Cameras on, crew, if we can. Let's take a little happy snap and share, and we can share this in the Facebook group. We do also have our link in our Facebook group for you guys to take a photo. So maybe our crew take off our screen share and we can get our lovely faces on. And who wants to pick what are we doing with our faces? Just cool smile? A smile and a little thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
Okay. Yay! Awesome.
Fantastic.
Well, feel free to type in the chat if you've got any questions. We are 6 minutes early, but we always love to give people some time back into their day. But I'm happy now to stay on and Oh, Serena had a lovely, oh, she's got a lovely little buttercup cat over there. Great information, says Jill. Serena, amazing session. You're very welcome. Sty, so good. You're very welcome. Anyone got any questions on anything that we've covered so far, whether it is the author, whether it is the content, whether it is the workbook? We are open, we are available for another 5 minutes to answer anything and everything. If you want to take yourself off mute or if you want to put your question in the chat, let's have a look. Jill, I know having a book is important. If I don't have one, will I still be marketable until one is published? Oh, I love this question, Jill. And in fact, people are not averse. In fact, people have used this as a strategy to say coming soon, right? And I'm not really a fan of the gimmicks. I'm not a fan of, incorrect information. You know you're writing a book, you know it's coming, you know it's going to be published soon. You just sort of saying author of the upcoming book, estate planning for individual or whatever that is, right? And the beauty of this is people actually start to follow you because they want to be interested in this book. You start to also drop content about this book. You start to speak and to share about the upcoming book. And hence what that does is it leverages you as an author, starts to increase sales, and starts to get other people saying, wow, we need this in our space. Can we have you come and speak for us? So yes, it is you are very marketable with or without the book. But once you've got a book, your fees can increase. And as your book is coming, people are interested in that as well. So definitely go ahead and do that. You're very welcome. Juicy question, says Chris. Any other questions while I'm here, while Chris is here? Any specific questions you have that we can answer for you? Chris, anything you're thinking or seeing that we usually get? What questions did we get last time as well?
Yes, I think a lot of the questions we've already covered in session, in fact, and I really love Jill's question, to be honest, because it just reminded me of my own book launch, and a lot of it was, soft launch until the ramp up, and you can go to my socials and you can see I think it was like close to 140 people at my book launch, and I did very little marketing for it, very little, in fact, any at all, because and the truth be told, I actually booked a venue that overlooked the Harbour Bridge and Opera House. So if you know about Sydney, they're very iconic, a Harbour Bridge and Opera House. It was such a beautiful event, but I didn't anticipate how many people were going to come. So the room was limited, I think, to about 80. Brenda attended the event and she said, oh my gosh, there are so many people here. It was an ocean of supporters, and I was very, very happy about that. So to answer Jill's question, it's not impossible to be seen, and I did a lot of that lead up to it, and that culminated into a fantastic event.
So good, Chris. Your event was fantastic. We love authors because authors are sometimes shy, which is strange because we've put together all of the expertise already, right? You really want to help people. You've already done the hard work, but the hard work is sometimes condensing those 10 chapters into a 1-hour keynote. It's sometimes condensing all the information and all the stories that you've poured out. And really seeing, okay, which ones of these can I leverage in this audience or on this stage? Which ones can I pick? Can I have a signature keynote and maybe 2 others that maybe align with different audiences that I want to solve a similar problem for, right? So those are definitely the things we help our authors to go through, our subject matter experts to clarify. Even your lived experience, do not underestimate that. Lived experience trumps a lot of this, right? Because you've been there, you've done that, so you resonate, right? When you speak about your story, people in the room are actually like nodding because they're like, wow, that's exactly what I'm experiencing. How are you in my head? How did you know that? And then importantly, when you share with them the pathway to actually resolve all that.
Exactly. I want to extend on that, in fact, Brenda, because a lot of our authors, they've probably locked themselves in a room for a bit. Or they're actually very quiet and introspective. Some of our best speakers are introverts. Some of our best speakers are the quiet thinkers, because they've done a lot of it in their heads, in the books, between the pages, and now they need to conquer the voice, and so this skill set actually allows them to really fine-tune this one lane, which is the spoken word, as opposed to, I don't even have content to speak about. I'm shallow. That is not a problem for authors. That is not a problem for subject matter experts. And so for Brenda and I as communication strategists, our objective, is to show you the way where you can bring in all the knowledge that you already have, and the years that you've closed the door and locked yourself in the room, like a professor, really needling away through your book. And now it's time for you to showcase to the world that you have a lot of depth, and it's about being seen and being heard in that aspect. So I'll share a story with you very, very quick, because it's 11 o'clock already and I'm appreciative of your time. We have an amazing engineer that we're working with at the moment. He is so shy. But do you know what? He's only worked with us for less than 3 months, and he has so much knowledge that within a space of, I think, the time that he's worked with us, he's gained 2,000 additional followers on LinkedIn, because his space is thought leadership. But before that, nobody really knew what he was thinking. Everything was just in his head. Okay, and he works for one of the leading engineering firms globally, and he didn't realize that he could actually speak about his topic. He just didn't know how to do it. Not that he didn't have the knowledge, he just didn't know how. And within a space of, I think it was less than 3 months, I looked through our chat with him, and it was May, June, barely July now. So it is very promising, I think about visibility, especially for quiet achievers, and I say quiet achievers not because we're quiet by nature necessarily, it's because we have spent the time in our authorship or our subject matter, and now we're like, what do we do with this? And the short answer is a lot you can do with it. So I am very appreciative of your time. It's 11:02, and I've broken my promise that my story was only going to go for a very short time. But please book in a call, so we can strategically see how we can help you. And of course, there's no obligation whatsoever, but of course we welcome you into our world, and hope to speak to you all soon.
Thank you so much, everybody. We'll see you again soon.
Bye.